All right, everyone, get ready because today we're going deep into a true crime mystery, and it is a really heartbreaking one. We are talking about a family that just disappeared. No signs, no trace, just gone.
It really gets to you, a family just gone from their normal life. I think it's something we all kind of fear, the unknown.
Yeah, for sure. We were talking about a family of, let me see. Okay, yeah, a family of four. They were living, what seemed to be a pretty normal life out in is Missouri. And then, boom, on July 17th, 2015, they just vanish. Like, poof.
And what really gets me is that their house, it was like untouched. They left dishes in the sink, beds were unmade. They even left stuff like their wallets and
Yeah,
cell phones. It's almost like they thought they were coming right back, but then something happened.
yeah, that's what I read too. At first, investigators thought maybe they just decided to, leave everything and start over somewhere new. But then, like, it's a little more complicated.
Right. If you were gonna disappear on purpose, you'd think there'd be some sign, like maybe they took a bunch of money out of the bank or sold their house real quick or tried to, I don't know, cover their tracks online or something. But there was nothing like that. Their finances were totally normal.
So no secret money stash or anything.
Not a thing. And that's where forensic accountants come in, right? They're the ones who can track the money and look for anything weird, any signs of foul play. But they couldn't find anything at all.
So it wasn't like a super planned out thing. What about like calls and stuff? Did they try to call anyone before they went missing?
That's where it gets even weirder. All their communication, it just stopped. July 16th, 2015, that's it. Phones went dead. No more social media, no emails, no messages. It's like someone just cut them off.
Okay, that's really creepy. So we have this family gone. No explanation. Their house is normal. They're totally off the grid. Did they at least take their car?
Nope. Car was right there in the driveway, keys in the ignition. So if they did leave on purpose, they didn't take their car. And it couldn't have been planned very well,
Yeah.
especially since their money stuff was all normal.
You mentioned digital forensics earlier. Did they find anything online that might help explain things?
Oh, yeah, they looked at all of that. It's like being a detective, but online. They look at everything, their browser history, emails, social media, you name it. But they couldn't find anything helpful.
No weird messages or anything like that?
Nope, it looked like they were living totally normal lives online right up until they vanished.
So a lot of dead ends here. What about just like regular detective work? Did anyone see anything? Was there any security footage or something?
Investigators talked to everyone, friends, family, neighbors, anyone who might have seen something. They went through hours and hours of footage from traffic cameras, security systems, everything. But nothing. It's like they just disappeared into thin air.
It really does sound like a mystery novel.
Yes.
People don't just vanish. Did investigators ever find any physical evidence at all?
They searched everywhere. They used helicopters, dogs, volunteers. They searched for miles and miles, woods, lakes. They even looked in abandoned buildings. But they found nothing, not even a piece of clothing or anything.
You mentioned helicopters and dogs. That sounds like a huge search.
I know, right? And they found nothing. It makes the whole thing even weirder. It's like, when you're doing a puzzle and some of the pieces are missing, and then the pieces you do have, they don't fit together.
Yeah, it is like a puzzle. So we've got this family, seemingly perfect, normal life. Then boom, they're just gone.
Yeah, it's like the ultimate mystery, right? And it's been years now. Years since they disappeared, and still nothing. It's a cold case, but everyone still wants to know what happened.
I can definitely see why this case is so interesting to people. It's kind of scary to think that in this day and age, some mysteries just aren't solved. Has there been anything new? Any new leads or information in the last few years?
Officially, the investigation is stalled, but the family, their loved ones, and a bunch of amateur detectives, they haven't given up. Every year, they have these memorials to keep their memory alive, hoping that maybe someone will remember something, some little detail that could help.
That's pretty amazing. People really don't give up. They just keep searching for answers. Have there been any theories about what happened?
Oh, yeah, tons of theories. When there's not much to go on, people come up with all sorts of ideas. Some people think maybe they faked their own disappearance, like maybe they were in some kind of danger or wanted to start a brand new life.
That makes sense. But their finances were fine, right? You'd need money to just disappear like that.
Exactly. That's why that theory doesn't really work. To completely vanish, especially a whole family, it takes a lot of planning and money. And there's just no evidence of that.
So it wasn't planned. What about foul play? Could they have been, victims of a crime?
Of course, the investigators thought about that too. But again, there was no sign of a struggle at the house, no evidence of violence or anything like that.
So maybe an abduction.
Yeah, but usually there's something in those cases, a ransom note, a witness, maybe the car turns up abandoned somewhere, but none of that happened.
It seems like all the logical explanations have problems. What about, like, the more out there theories? I bet there's been some speculation with a case like this.
Oh, definitely. And this is where it gets a bit, you know, a bit strange. Some people think, and I guess they're just hoping for any explanation, but some think it could be a really rare psychological thing. Shared delusion, it's called.
Shared delusion. What's that?
It's this weird thing where a group of people, usually a close family, they all start believing something that isn't true. And they all believe it together. It can make them do some pretty strange things.
I guess that could explain why they disappeared so suddenly. But isn't that super rare?
Super rare. And to be honest, there's no reason to think this family had any kind of mental health issues. Everyone said they were totally normal.
So we've looked at everything, rational explanations, even some more unusual ones, and we still don't know what happened.
And that's the hardest part of this case, I think. It just doesn't make sense. It reminds us that we don't know everything. Sometimes even with all the technology and everything, we just can't find all the answers.
It's a bit scary, but it also shows you how powerful a mystery can be.
Mm.
It makes you think, it makes you wonder about people and what they're capable of. What do you think, listener?
Yeah, it's a bit like, I don't know, like looking into this big empty space. So many questions, so many theories, but we still have no idea what really happened.
I think that's what gets me. It makes you realize that we don't have all the answers. Sometimes you just have to accept that some mysteries, well, they just stay mysteries.
For sure. So, what do you think is the most important thing we've learned from this whole thing?
For me, it's how important it is to connect with people. And, how much a disappearance like this can really hurt the people left behind, the family and friends. They're stuck. They don't know what to think. They're grieving, but there's no closure. It really makes you think. You have to appreciate the time you have with the people you love. Things can change so fast. You hear that a lot with missing person cases. Have there been any other cases like this one? Anything that might give us some clues?
There have been a few cases that are kind of similar. Families that just vanished, no trace, nothing at the house to explain it, no obvious reason. One that comes to mind is the Sodder children. Back in 1945, 5 kids disappeared from their house in West Virginia. There was a fire, and after that, poof, they were gone. No one knows what happened to them.
Wow, that's just as strange. Do they think there's any connection between that case and this one?
There's nothing to say for sure, but it is interesting how similar they are. Both families, gone. House is untouched. And so many unanswered questions. It just shows you that even when everything seems normal, something really bad can happen.
It's scary to think about.
Uh,
Well, as we wrap up our deep dive into this mystery, I want to hear from you, the listener. What do you think happened? Which theory makes the most sense to you? Was there anything we talked about that really stood out?
like we said, there's not much evidence and a lot of theories. Maybe the most important thing isn't finding the right answer, but understanding that this was real. A family is gone, and all we have are questions and sadness and the hope that maybe someday we'll know the truth.
I think that's a good way to put it. It makes you think, even after you've forgotten the details. Some stories just don't have a happy ending. Some mysteries might never be solved. And some questions, well, they might stay with us forever.